On December 5th, a headline sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Netflix was officially moving to acquire Warner Brothers. The company that began life-mailing DVDs was now attempting to purchase one of the oldest and most influential studios in Hollywood history, the home of DC, HBO, Cartoon Network, Harry Potter, Looney Tunes, and nearly a century of film legacy. But before we break down how this could reshape movies, streaming, and Hollywood itself, make sure you subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and lets me keep making these deep dive documentaries for you. Chapter 1: The Deal No One Expected. For years, Warner Brothers was considered untouchable, too large, too iconic, too woven into Hollywood's identity to ever be sold. But behind closed doors, Warner Brothers had been struggling. After years of mergers, debt restructuring, canceled projects, and shifting leadership, the studio's finances weakened. The once powerful giant was now vulnerable. Streaming had changed the fight for audience attention, and studios began operating less like film companies and more like Silicon Valley platforms. Warner Brothers was left trying to compete in a world where content wasn't just entertainment, it was a subscription product. That shift opened a door Netflix had been waiting decades to walk through. The sale announcement triggered a bidding war. Paramount made multiple offers and was rejected 3 times. Skydance's David Ellison emerged as a serious contender, proposing to keep Warner Brothers intact, including DC, HBO, and existing leadership. But Netflix had something none of the others fully matched: the strategic need to own intellectual property and the resources to buy it. Warner Brothers finally accepted Netflix's bid, reportedly valued at over $82 billion. Chapter 2: Why Warner Bros. Became a target. For decades, Warner Bros. Operated as one of the dominant pillars of American media, but recent years were marked by missteps. The merger with AT&T proved turbulent. Discovery's takeover brought aggressive cost-cutting, shelving completed films, removing content from platforms, and restructuring departments. Decisions that saved money on paper, but damaged relationships with creators, employees, and audiences. Streaming competition intensified. Disney surged with Marvel and Star Wars. Universal expanded theatrical franchises. Smaller platforms acquired niche audiences. Warner Brothers sat caught between chasing blockbuster IP success while simultaneously slashing budgets to survive. By the time the sale was announced, the company had lost stable identity. Investors were frustrated, creators were uncertain. To many analysts, the sale wasn't shocking, only inevitable. Chapter 3: Why Netflix Wants Warner Bros. Netflix changed entertainment once, and now it intends to do it again. Despite being the largest streaming service in the world, Netflix has one glaring weakness: long-term intellectual property. It has hits: Stranger Things, Wednesday, Squid Game, and yet none are generational franchises comparable to Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, or Star Wars. Owning Warner Bros. Gives Netflix something it has never truly possessed: cultural permanence. With Warner Bros., Netflix gains DC Comics, hundreds of characters and decades of built-in fandom. HBO's library, some of the most awarded programming in television. Warner Bros. Theatrical legacy, films stretching back nearly a century. Netflix didn't just buy a film studio, it bought Hollywood history. Content that previously required expensive licensing fees could now sit permanently on Netflix, justifying subscription increases while reducing operating costs. The catalog alone could reshape Netflix's market presence overnight. Chapter 4: The Future of Theater Releases. One of the biggest fears surrounding the acquisition is whether Warner Bros. Projects will still premiere in theaters or debut exclusively on Netflix. Netflix responded quickly, stating it intends to maintain theatrical releases. Reports even suggest Warner Bros. Will operate as a separate studio division, but industry veterans aren't convinced. Netflix has repeatedly criticized long theatrical exclusivity windows. Since the pandemic, the typical 90-day theater window has shrunk dramatically, sometimes to 30 days or less. Netflix has publicly argued these windows are outdated and not consumer-friendly. Critics fear Netflix may push Warner Bros. Films into streaming after only 2 or 3 weekends in theaters. This move could trigger a chain reaction across Hollywood. Smaller studios might follow, and theaters, already weakened, could face another existential crisis. Directors like James Cameron have already warned that if streaming platforms weaken theatrical releases further, the cultural value of cinema itself will erode. Chapter 5. What happens to HBO Max and DC? If Netflix owns Warner Bros., what becomes of HBO Max? Official statements claim HBO will remain separate, at least temporarily. Some content will begin filtering onto Netflix as licensing agreements transition, but analysts believe this arrangement is temporary. Over time, streaming platforms tend to consolidate. A future where HBO becomes a branded section inside Netflix, similar to Hulu inside Disney Plus, seems increasingly likely. Under current leadership, long-term plans are already in development, including interconnected films and television series. If Netflix finalizes the acquisition after the regulatory approval process, those plans could shift, and production tailored toward driving subscription growth over cinematic impact. Netflix prioritizes long-form bingeable storytelling, a model that favored series like Stranger Things or The Witcher over standalone blockbuster films. Netflix now possesses one of the world's most valuable superhero libraries, and how it uses it will define the next decade of entertainment. Chapter 6. Regulation, Power, and Industry Fallout. The acquisition still faces intense scrutiny. Lawmakers have already raised concerns about corporate concentration. If approved, Netflix would control nearly half of the streaming market. That level of dominance raises questions about pricing power. With fewer major studios remaining, job markets could shrink. A consolidation-driven industry means fewer movies, fewer greenlit projects, and fewer companies hiring. The impact wouldn't just affect executives, but writers, editors, performers, production crews, animators, visual effects studios, and thousands more. For everyday audiences, the immediate concern is pricing. Subscription costs could rise, bundling could become mandatory, and access to content may eventually require multiple tiered plans. In a world where one platform controls cinema's most significant franchises, the entertainment landscape may become more convenient. Chapter 7. What happens next? Even though Netflix has won the bid, the acquisition isn't guaranteed. Deals of this scale face intense scrutiny, and this one has already triggered political and industry pushback. Lawmakers have described the merger as a potential monopoly, could create a level of control the entertainment industry has never seen before. Some analysts are already calling it the most consequential media acquisition since Disney bought Fox. Except this time, the goal isn't to strengthen film and television, but to consolidate streaming power. If regulators approve the acquisition without restrictions, Netflix could control nearly half of the US streaming market. That level of dominance may give them the ability to raise subscription prices. For audiences, this could look convenient at first: fewer subscriptions, more content in one place. But long-term, less competition almost always means higher pricing and fewer choices. For Hollywood workers, the implications are even more complex. Industry unions have already voiced concern, warning that consolidating 2 major studios typically reduces the total number of films and shows produced. The last time Warner Bros. Cut production output under its previous restructuring, entire departments were dissolved, and this merger may repeat that on a larger scale. The theatrical landscape is also at risk. Netflix claims it will continue theatrical releases, but internal comments about shortening exclusive theater windows have raised red flags. A shortened window means films might only run in theaters for a weekend or 2 before landing on Netflix. That may sound consumer-friendly, but it could accelerate the decline of theaters already weakened by streaming and the pandemic. Independent cinemas, which rely on longer runs, may struggle to survive in a model where films disappear from their screens almost as quickly as they arrive. Internationally, many countries have content quota rules requiring streaming platforms to carry or produce a certain percentage of local programming. If Netflix becomes the dominant gatekeeper of entertainment, it may challenge or attempt to renegotiate those rules, reshaping global cultural influence and reducing the presence of regional cinema in favor of globally commercial franchises. Even if regulators approve the purchase, the full integration process could take up to 2 years. Similar to the Disney-Fox merger. During that period, Warner Bros. Will continue operating, but creative decisions will shift. Current projects may continue, while others could be paused. Flix evaluates what aligns with its long-term strategy. In the best case, the combined resources could result in stronger franchises, better production investment, and expanded storytelling. In the worst case, the merger could reduce variety, shrink artistic risk-taking, and push the entire industry further toward algorithm-approved content. The battle for Warner Bros. Is more than a business negotiation. It is a turning point for entertainment itself. For the first time, a streaming platform may own one of Hollywood's oldest studios, ending a century-old separation between theaters and digital platforms. Whether this becomes the next evolution of cinema or the beginning of an industry decline remains uncertain. If this story captured your interest, you'll want to watch the documentary on the decline of Party City, where another giant collapsed under pressure it didn't see coming. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and comment which company or collapse should be uncovered next.